In this series, we're going to do a deep dive into the Senet Developer Portal. And I've been looking forward to this for a while because this is a free service that anybody can use. The idea is to show you all that it has to offer, which is quite a bit. And if you haven't done so already, just go to portal.senetco.io and click on Create New Account. And this just takes a few minutes and you'll be up and running in no time. So to get started, in this video, I'm going to register a device and have it communicate on the network right away. So I'll just log in to my account here, and this is a fresh account with no devices or gateways onboarded yet. And the device I'm working with today is a Multitech X-Dot. This is a great developer device to get started with. It's very user-friendly, it's LoRaWAN certified, and with a few AT commands, you can configure the device for the Senet network. Back in our dashboard, we'll get the process started by clicking this plus button at the top left. Click on Register Device, and we just need to fill out a few items. The first, and most important, is the device EUI. This is an enterprise unique identifier. And if you need some more information, just check out our FAQ. And on that note, we have a documentation section that will be most helpful. At docs.senetco.io, just click Developer, and you can cruise all of the information here if you have any deep questions, such as registering gateways, or devices, or even our API documentation. Back in registering our device, we have two options. We can either allocate one from the Senet EUI registry, and this is pretty common because some devices don't actually come with the device EUI, but in our case it does. The X-Dot actually has a device ID which it considers as its device EUI. I have my device connected to my console port, and I'll type in AT and V. This brings up the device's configuration. And if you need any information on AT commands, Multitech has a great reference doc for this. Back in our device, you can see up here at the top this device ID. This is the 64-bit and hex value ID that we're going to use. I'll go back to our portal and I'll actually split screen this. Next is our activation type. Now you have two options. In the developer portal, you can use either OTAA, which mainly is the default setting for most devices. This allows the device to join and negotiate its keys with the network server. The other is ABP, activation by personalization, and this is where you pre-fill in the keys for your device. And in production mode, unless this is explicitly allowed, we don't really recommend it. OTAA offers a far better security method. Next, we'll just add our description, which is just Craig's device, and we'll just select our device type from this drop down. And the X-Dot is quite popular, so it's listed here. If it's not, just select other. So we're ready to register our device, and I'll just click that button now. What'll pop up is the application EUI and the application key that the network server has generated for us to input onto our device. So that's some information I'll punch in now. Over on our device, there's a few AT commands that we'll need to run. One is the AT-NI, which stands for the network ID. If I just hit enter, it'll show you what's currently configured. You can also see this up here. What we want is this, the application EUI for the network ID. I'll copy the hex, I'll type in AT plus NI, and this will equal, first it's a 0 because 0 denotes a hex value, comma, and that hex value. We'll hit enter, and we can see that it's been set. Next is the network key, and this correlates to the application key that we need to enter in. I'll copy that hex, and it's a similar command, AT plus NK for network key, that'll equal a 0, comma, and that hex value. And it's set. Now I'll do another AT and V just to display the current configuration. And we can see those values have been updated, this ID and the network key. But you'll notice public network is set to off. This needs to be on because we want to join the Senet public network. I'll set that by typing AT-PN for public network, set that to 1. And we're good to go. This next item I want to point out is the frequency subband. Now you'll notice it's set to 0, and this denotes all channels on the US channel plan, which is 64, quite a bit. And in most public Senet networks, you'll find 64 channel gateways. But in our developer environment, I'm working with a multi-tech conduit, which is only 8 channels. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because I want my device to join right away. I'm going to set this to 1. With an AT plus FSB for frequency subband, setting this to 1 will force this device to operate on the first 8 channels. Now again, we don't normally recommend this, but it's for a developer environment. So a few other configurations to point out. Our network join mode is OTA, and we specified that during registration. Some join retries, our X2 frequency and data rate, all things that you can leave as default, but good things to know about when you're getting started with LoRaWAN. So at this point, our device is ready to join. You'll see over on the left-hand side that our device is not clickable, and that's because it's brand new. There's no uplinks or downlinks associated with it. So I'll go back to our console, and I'll even pull up the debug right here, just to show what's happening when we enter commands. I'll type in AT_join. We have our information on the left-hand side here, and we can see that we're starting off on channel frequency 2 right here. I'll come back to our dashboard, hit refresh, and look at that. Our device is now clickable. We'll go into this device and we'll find, and you'll see some history in here because I've used this device in the past. However, our join that we just sent up is right here. Join request, we can see that it's accepted and it sent down a downlink, which is great. And that downlink was heard by the device right here, successfully joined network. So our device knows that it's on the network. And if I type in AT and V, we'll find a few new items. This network address. The network server has allocated effectively a local network address for us, as well as our network session key and our data session key. So now we can actually send up payloads of data. By doing so, on the X dot, we can type in AT send, and this will send up just an empty uplink. But I'm just going to type in some payload data. Let's just try the classic hello world. I'll hit enter, give it a few, go to our debug window, and we'll see right here, using channel 4, configuring the radio, it sends up. The device actually listens on 2 receive path windows, and it says nothing was received, which means no downlinks have been sent, which we'll probably discuss in a later video. But back in our dashboard, if we see here, we now have an uplink. Even the payload, although encrypted, was sent from the device. In closing, that's really all it takes to get a device registered and uplinking on the Senet network. Hope you found this informative, and I'll see you in the next video for gateway onboarding.